Hey there. This is part 2 of the Oriole Skulls guide, and if you just followed in from part 1, you might be saying, what the heck, where are you? I've skipped ahead a little bit just to show off some mechanics about Bash, because we're about to pick up Bash, and the Bash room is not the best place to explain them. So I've gone out here, and we're going to go back to the save that I finished part 1 on in a moment. So first up, much like dash gliding, like where you go to neutral inputs and jump out of a dash, and then your speed is maintained, bashing is a similar thing, which is, well, preceded it because bash was in vanilla. This is called bash gliding. So when you bash and hold the direction, you see yourself quickly decelerate back to normal speeds. But if you just go to neutral inputs during a bash, you go considerably faster, and like when you can feather and stuff like that, you can go real far with a bash. So if I'm bashing, holding feather and left, that's my movement. And if I do it with neutral inputs, you know, it's night and day. It's way, way, way quicker. So let me get myself back there. And now, the speed of a bash glide is related to the angle you bash at. So I can still bash glide like this, but my speed is pretty dismal. Once you pick up air dash, which you won't do for a while in the tutorial, but on this save I already have it, you can do a bash glide and then air dash, and this gives you an even faster glide. Just slightly. It's 20 units per second up against the 18 units per second that you stared at with a flat bash glide. But you can also fix these like upwards bashes. Like I'm drifting really slowly to the left, then I dash, and I'm going real fast. So basically, anytime you bash, there's very rare circumstances when you don't want to be bash gliding. So you almost always want to be bash gliding, and then once you get air dash, you pretty much want to be air dashing through the glide as well. So that just explains a little bit of the mechanics about bashing. So oh yeah, okay, double bashing as well. So when you bash, this is difficult to do on controller. The only way to do it is to just bash the frame after you release a bash. On keyboard, there's a way to set it up so that you have two keys bound to the keyboard C, or you plug in two keyboards to do it, but that setup's a little ridiculous, so you just do it with software to prevent people from having to do this. And then you hold one C bind, and then you just press the other one at some specific timings. So it won't always work, and you get this double arrow showing off thing. And that doesn't really do anything for that, but if you do it on something that can move, I can bash this guy and then press C, and he'll go in the direction of the first arrow, while I will go in the direction of the second. This is not really the best example enemy to do it on. Let me go get something with more health. One of these guys. So you can do this kind of thing where you carry enemies or like shots or something with you by re-aiming your bash. So I'll be using a few double bashes throughout the run. None of them are required anymore. In vanilla there's some required double bashing for certain routes, but in the definitive edition double bashes are just used as time save, basically. Any double bash that I do can be skipped. So let's go back to where we were right before getting bash and carry on the run from there. So we just did the ghost door, and here's the bash tree. So, as well, I'll remind you that I had leveled up to the first mini-boss in Gitzo, and that makes my experience set up in this part really easy. That's a dash glide to get under that Frankie, but if you don't get that dash glide, you just bash off of him as intended. So, I'm gonna I picked up that 100 orb right after bash. Okay, I meant to do a double bash there. I'll do this double bash to show you what it's supposed to look like, or I'll miss a bunch of double bashes in a row. What the heck? Good guide, right? Okay, so there. So that lets you skip a cycle on these lower ones, but there's nothing wrong with just sending the shot over and then grabbing the experience and catching the next ride up. So we pick up 200 experience from the orb right after Bash and the orb down there. If you were a little bit short on the mini boss, you can pick up that 5 experience, which might be enough to fix things up for you. But this level takes 275 total, and we're going to pick up 75 experience after this. We want to level up at that point, which is why you wanted to level up to the first mini boss and get so. I'll show you another place you can get some quick experience if you were short on the mini boss and you're not sure that you're going to level up. But here I'm fine because I'm 67 away. Now here, you must save to do a trick called the key dupe, and I'm just going to show what that is. So key duping is when... Nice damage boost. Key duping is when you load at a save that is far enough away from a door to be outside of its scene. Let me just do this movement properly. Load at a save that's far enough away from a door to be outside of its scene. And have keys in the door, but the door is not opening. So in this case, we're going to duplicate 3 keys on this door by dying just barely to these spikes. So we're just going to edge off the edge of this platform real slow, so we fall into these spikes, and these keys will get duplicated. So we'll have those keys back, but they'll be in the world as well. Now note you really want to go slow here when you tap off the edge. If you go too fast, you can see the keys pretty quickly come out of the door, and if you die with the keys out of the door, then you're going to have to redo this. There's also a fast way you can do this, like so, where you just fall directly into the spikes and then duplicate the keys, but I would recommend, for now, just land on that platform and then tap left to get yourself off the edge. So now on the second time through here, we're going to collect all the keys, and then we're going to do a ghost door. And I missed the trick called hyperspeed there, but it's not a big deal. You can learn that one much later. And then we'll just bash stuff with this mini boss. There's another optional double bash to collect his experience faster. If you don't do that double bash, you might need to drop down closer to the spikes to pick up that experience, but you generally will need the 30 from that guy. So now we're going to do something called core skip, which is essentially, we're going to level up at the top left side of Ginso here, off of this frog, and this level up explosion is going to break both sides, so that we don't have to do the right room at all. And I'd recommend probably going back in the video and just watching how I bashed that frog to get him up there that quickly. That needs a little bit of practice, but I'm not gonna, rehash this too much because rewinding is a thing. So if that level up goes off and then both sides break and you can just start the escape. I forgot to mention that this frog, actually I am going to do this again because I mentioned that I was going to tell you how to get experience if you're short on the mini boss. This frog is the best one to do because you can just shoot this guy's shot into him. And that gives you 9 more experience. So hopefully you weren't massively short on experience. So we'll just do another core skip real quick. With a bit better movement that time. And then we'll do the Ginso escape. The Ginso escape is pretty straightforward. You just do it, but you want to pick up 300 experience here to set up another level up later. This next level up is really easy to get correct because there's no more random, well, not random, but there's no more enemy dropped experience that you need. So you're getting it all from big sources of experience, so it's rather easy to set up. So here we're just doing the Ginso escape. I grabbed the 200 orb at the very start of the Ginso escape above that spider, and I'm going to grab the last 100 underworld because it takes like no time to get. And then we're gonna be out of here. Now, here, as soon as you bash off that last lantern, you can skip cutscene. Here, you want to turn the UI back on if you're playing with it off. I turned my UI off intentionally just to show you what happens when you have the UI off here, is Ori will just sit here and stare at the sky for like 10 seconds. And it's really terrible. But what you want to do is you want to turn your UI on and then mash through the dialogue line here. And as soon as you're through the first dialogue box, you can turn it off again. But if you don't, then this happens and it's terrible. So because we key duped, I can go immediately to the right and just open this door right at the very beginning of Swamp, and we don't have to do the swimming part at all. So I'm just going to go up and get stomped now. And I guess a bit about Stomp's mechanics while we're getting up there. Ori's terminal velocity without Stomp is 32 units per second once you accelerate. But with Stomp, you instantly go to 40 as soon as you start moving down. So Stomping, even though it has a little bit of a wind-up time, if you're falling like any significant distance at all, even like short distances, like half a screen or less, it's way faster to Stomp. So you can Stomp and then release down and you'll be still falling at 40 units per second. So that's how you want to generally traverse to go down. Now here, I'm going to place a save on the edge there, grab this cell. And then we're going to do a trick called Drainless. The save position is extremely forgiving. Like, you could be over here, you could be like right on the edge, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that when you're below the top of the lip here, you can press E to open the ability menu, so save could be a lot further left and it would still be fine. But point is, it's on the edge up top. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use a property called save dropping, which is when a file loads, if there's solid ground below you, you'll get put on that solid ground if you were saved in the air. And then we're also going to, basically we want to break this thing, but you can't stomp underwater. Unfortunately, the game's a little confused on the first frame it loads, so if we're beginning a stomp, so in this wind-up animation before we start to go down, and we do a save and reload, we will break that thing below us. So all you want to do is be on this wall here, press down, and then press E or whatever the heck opens the save menu on controller, and then level up the next thing in the blue tree. So down E, and then grab your group. So that would work. I'll just show one that wouldn't work if I leveled it up. You don't want to wait too long on the stomp. So like, well, that would work, but if you start to go down with the stomp already, it won't work. So you just want to press E to level up right after your stomp begins. So there you go. And then you reload the file, and you'll break the thing, and then you'll be able to swim through. Now, it's important to note, if you die before saving again there, you'll reload and the thing won't break, but you can go to the menu again and reload the file. Like, you don't have to redo the trick or anything like that. So that's that. Now, swimming is slow, so it's faster to jump out of the water here and move through the air. And you can save already right here. Now here's where I was talking before we started, like, back on this part about bash gliding. Bash gliding through that part makes the movement a lot easier to like get spider to spider. So you just want to get a little bit used to that. But should note that consecutive dashes are still way faster than bash gliding, so you want to be dashing across the ground whenever you can. Here's a skip called the Kuro cutscene skip. I'm just going to link to a video because the description of this setup is kind of long, and I missed it. So I'm actually gonna get the skip just to show. This saves like 17 seconds to get it. That'll work. You can just bash over the cutscene trigger there, and you're good to go. Okay, I always forgot this in other guides. Normally, and even if you're learning, you may just want to go to the left here. But there is a 5th health cell that you can take in this area, and it opens up a different method for Sorrow Bash. So maybe on your first run through this run, or run through the game along with this guide, you want to take this cell just for when you get to Sorobash, you can try different things with it. So I'm going to get it, and then... nice wall climb. Wow. You can tell I'm good at getting this cell. That wall is really weird. But yeah, you can come up here and grab this cell right now, and then you'll have 5 health, which lets you do an extra damage boost in Sorrow. So here, there's another cutscene skip. Once again, another one where if you miss it, just keep going. The cutscene is not that long. It saves like 2 seconds. The trigger for it is basically in line with this this wall. So you just place a save and then walk over Kindle, and just skips Ori looking at the spider sack and sign being like, yo, we can charge flame that to knock it down, even though you don't have charge flame yet because we're going the wrong way. Oh, right. And then I'll just explain this. All breakable walls, for whatever reason, are breakable with Stomp from the right side, and their intended mechanic is not needed. So since we approach this wall from the right, you can just stomp through it. Note that to get the Stomp break, you have to be right up against the wall and above the halfway mark on it. So from up here, it'll break, but if I'm not against the wall, it won't work. Or if I'm too low on the wall, it won't work. So you just gotta get up to the top half of the wall and then stomp. That'll break it. Now here, oh, this movement, okay. I'm gonna reload here so I can talk about getting this Frankie to come down into Charge Flame with you. So what you want to do is get him to do a high jump, which is called, like, Frankies will do high jumps as long as you're close to them, but they will low jump if you're too far away. So the way to get this guy to follow you correctly is to get him to do a high jump and then dash away and stomp the floor. So wait for the jump, dash away and stomp the floor, and then go down and dash to the left. The way that a lot of people screw it up and don't get him to follow properly is just by rushing it, basically. So like if you do a full dash glide over here and then you dash immediately, you did a low jump, and he's not going to follow me. So what you just want to do there is, this is one rare instance where you cancel out your dash glide by pressing left, and then you don't dash right away like that. You wait for him to do his first jump, and then you dash, and he'll follow you down. So cancel your dash glide, wait for the jump, and then he'll follow me down. And you can dash away twice, and he'll stay over there. If you're slow on these dashes, then he might follow you towards Charge Flame. So grab Charge Flame. It's not very useful, but it does open up the skill tree for us, which is pretty sweet. So I did talk at the start of this segment about air dash, and we're about to get that, which is really nice because now we can bash glide faster. And okay, there's 2 things you can do in this part. I'm just going to place the save to do sort of the easy way of getting over this cutscene. Easy way of getting over this cutscene is putting the save as close or nearly as close as you can to the spirit well, then jumping on the spirit well. Note that you can't jump like if you're right next to it. You have to be this far away, like at least in the area where you can place the save to jump, so you don't walk up right next to it before you try to jump onto it. So get on the spirit well, walk to the middle of it, and then the cutscene will start, and then you level up Charge Flame Efficiency and Air Dash, and then reload the file. I'm going to not level those up and reload the file to show a slightly better way of getting over it. And this would be if you dashed along, as you're coming in, you can place the save anywhere and then start a save anywhere on it. And then as you're approaching the spirit tree, you get up to here, and then you can dash glide, you can just dash glide over the edge with your save anywhere up, and then you can save over here. So with the ability tree up, it would be something like this. And that just skips a little bit of a slow walking zone after the spirit tree. Let me see if I can actually do this dash glide. Wow, I keep missing it. And we're in the cutscene. Alright. It's a little weird. Let me do it from approaching so my camera is panned a little down so I can actually see where I am. Still failing. Whatever, we'll take that. So those are some miserable dash glides, but let's not spend too long there. So that's just the slow walk zone that you don't want to you don't want to deal with. Once again, we're going to stomp that from the top half. Grab this ability cell, because we still need a few more points to get a charge dash, and then we're going to head along here. You don't have to do this thing I did with this bird. You can just jump up to this outpost normally, but that's the fastest way to do it, is to send the bird over and then use him to bash up, rather than jumping back and forth and climbing up. Now we're just moving through here. See more bash gliding with air dashes thrown in. Especially here, like I do an upwards bash and then I fix the speed with an air dash. And now here there's another trick coming up. We're gonna stomp on this bird's head to break this wall, which you're not supposed to be able to break until you have like charge, jump, and climb, but we want that cell. Here, I'm going to do the easy strategy, which is where we just get this spider to shoot at us and then bash up and grab this cell. I'll put a link to the hard strategy for this part, but I would not recommend doing the hard strategy at first, because it will it's a real run killer if you miss. But suffice to say, you can redirect a shot up here and then come back down. Whatever. I'll just link to that other strategy so you can watch it if you want. But there's a faster way to do this part where we don't actually have to watch the cutscene I just watched, and we can just not have to stomp this. So before I stomp this, I'm gonna save here. And there's even another place you could save, but I'll cover that in the next video when we talk about Zoro Pass. So I'm gonna save here, and I'm gonna level charge dash right now, and then we're gonna stomp these rocks and grab the feather. And I think at this point I'm gonna break up the video because Zoro Pass is really a very difficult part of the run. There's a lot of tricks that come at it quite quickly, so I'd like to have Zoro just in its own video. So we'll just stomp that, grab the feather, and I'll see you in the next video, which I'll have a link to. Take care.